Hey, before I kick off the podcast, I just want to shout out Next Door Clothing. Next Door, a clothing brand based out of Bondi in Sydney. They're making really nice jeans and shirts and hats. So go and check out their full range at nextdoorsydney.com. They're also artists, so you can go and check out a range of art. They put on rad parties, and I love what they're doing. So nextdoorsydney.com for the full range. Oh, God. Here we go. All right. So this is for Clementine and Otis. All right. So shout out to our sponsors today. Kingpin Skateshop. Like literally all the best shit. Like if you've got a sneaker fetish like me, this is your place. They also carefully stock their clothes and their skate decks and their hardware. They're locally owned in Australia. Like they're from Wollongong originally. And they're just legit. So check out their online store, kingpinstore.com. That's KINGPINSTORE.com. Pardon me, and use code THT at checkout for a 15% discount and get free shipping for orders over $25. Also, Crush Organics, like, oh my God, like my life has just got so much better since I've started using this natural product. Now, CBD products are officially legal in Australia, as they are in many parts of the world. So it's time to start improving your health and well-being. Just go and do the research yourself. Like CBD is an amazing natural supplement, okay? It's helped me so much with my sleep, recovery, and reducing feelings of stress and anxiety. So, a bit out of breath today. I'm all flustered. Head over to crushorganics.com. I'm so nervous, like Brett's looking at me. It's like when your dad looks at you, like, you know.
He's got that dad feel.
When he's disappointed in no. So head over to crushorganics.com. That's KRUSHORGANICS.com and use code THT at checkout for an epic 40% discount, fast shipping worldwide. And lastly, as always, Indosol, recycled motor vehicle tyres made into sandals. If you live in the Northern Hemisphere, get on it. It's coming into summer. Indosols have distributors worldwide, so go to indosol.com, that's INDOSOLE.com, and use code THT for a discount and advocate for conscious consumerism. Yes, I'm so stoked. It's my first three-way today.
Good boy.
Yeah, let's go. Terrible happy talks. Terrible happy talks.
Yeah, good to be here, man.
Whoa.
Three, two, one. All right, let's do this. All right, today's guest is Tyler Sargent-Wilson.
Yes,
Tyler is a professional boxer, personal trainer, and inspiration to many. Recently, Tyler maintained an unbeaten pro fight record against opponent Steve Rados at the Win Entertainment Centre in Wollongong, Australia, in what was a majority judge decision. Fast, focused, passionate, charismatic, all underpinned with an innate sense of humility. Tyler is with me live on location at the church, aka Fit to Fight Boxing Boutique, to share his journey, experiences, challenges, and hopes for the future. Tyler Sargent-Wilson, welcome.
Yes, thank you, brother.
Yes, man.
Happy to be here.
Dude, I'm going to give you a knuckle bump. I'm so stoked.
Yes.
And also, Brett Harriet is with us, Tyler's coach.
The Godfather.
The GF.
GF.
Gluten-free.
Gluten-free.
And yeah, Brett, you're a past guest, mate, and your episode had so many listens.
Oh, mate, I loved it. I have to admit I was nervous, but yeah, one of the better things I've done, just putting your story out there like that.
Yeah, and I mean, I think what resonated with a lot of people was just that sheer honesty. I mean, we don't get to hear that very often in our world these days, you know?
No, I agree, mate, and yeah, like you said, just everything, just with the whole social media thing now, everyone's putting on a front. It's nice to keep it real.
It is. And I actually heard another podcast you did with Marjay Saba.
Yes.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that, man.
Oh, no, I appreciate that, mate. Like I said, initially been a little bit nervous, but now I've listened to it myself, and I'm glad you gave me that opportunity because I'm proud of you know what we actually talked about.
Yeah, and so we were talking at the start with your lovely wife Sylvia as well, who's here with us today, and Tyler, just talking about how you guys are nurturing a real family feel.
Yeah.
So can you just let us know, like, how does Tyler fit into that family that you're trying to create through the boxing gym?
Yeah, well, I think I mentioned it before. Our whole model for this place was down-to-earth sort of gym, non-intimidating, but high-level training for everyone. So you don't have to be a fighter. You can just come here, and we've got all levels, and just to feel accepted in a boxing gym instead of feeling intimidated. And Tyler just, fits like a glove here. So we are very much a family gym, and everyone, knows everyone here by name, ability, whatnot. You can come here literally and just be yourself. You don't have to put on no act or try and fit into a clique. It's just very much a family gym.
Nice. So Tyler, when did your boxing journey start?
I was about 12 years old, and I was playing footy at the same time. And I come from a family of a lot of footy players. Dad, uncles, brothers, they all played footy. None of them actually boxed. So I started boxing with a mate of mine just for a little bit of fitness in the off season, and was doing it for about a year, just bits and pieces here and there, and really enjoyed it and really enjoyed the technical aspect of it. I ended up, when I was playing, I think it might have been under 13s or under 14s, I ended up breaking my collarbone playing footy, and it was towards the end of the season. And I had a good chat with Dad afterwards, and because I was boxing quite a bit at that time as well, I ended up saying to Dad, look, I don't really want to go back to footy. I want to keep boxing. And from the start, Dad's been a real advocate of, if you're going to do it, you got to do it right. And so we had that conversation. We said, look, if we're going to do it, everything has to be 100%. And that's what we've done ever since the start. And so I had my first fight when I was about 15 and had about 25 amateur fights. Stopped when I was about 19 because, the game can become a little bit political. So I
even at the the amateur level?
Yeah, big time.
Really?
It was a little bit disheartening, a couple of decisions I got, and eventually it drove me away from the sport for a little while. And that's when I wasn't training here. And anyway, I put on a lot of weight. I ended up going up to about 90 something kilos from 64. So,
Dude.
yeah, well, between the ages of about 14 and 19, I only put on about 4 kilos. So I was real restrictive of my weight and whatnot, obviously to fight it at a particular weight class. And so when I stopped training, it just went bang, like just, fucking just put on so quickly. And then I ended up finding a new job, and sort of going down a different path, which I didn't regret at all because it's ultimately led me here. And then, started training with Brett and sort of fell in love with it again, and then just decided, or we both decided that it was just better for me to turn professional because stylistically it just works better for me.
What do you mean stylistically?
Well, amateurs it's no more than 3 rounds. So it's very much a fast pace. It's very much bouncy up on your toes. There's lots of punches involved. There's no sitting down and trying to really like whack your shots in like you do in professionals. So my style has always was going to be better suited to a pro's sort of style because I do like to sit down. I do like to whack my punches in a little bit more and probably not throw as much as what an amateur would because I got more time.
Gotcha.
And it's a little bit more of a chess match rather than a sprint. So that's probably why I like it a little bit better.
So when Tyler came across your path in this life journey, what did you see in him immediately as a young boxer?
Well, the first thing I noticed was his manners, and that resonated with me straight away. Really polite. I don't know, I'm big on energy. He had a real good energy, just a nice young bloke, and I just thought, this is a nice guy straight away. But as soon as we got into our first session, he was probably in his 90s. He was a big boy. Yeah. So I remember when he was fighting early and he was in the 60-something kilo weight divisions.
So you'd already seen him?
Yeah, I knew about him
amateurs
before because a good friend of mine, like we're both friends with Shannon Taylor and both, had connections through there. But I'd seen him, I thought, Jesus, this kid's very talented, but like Tyler said, way more a professional style.
Yeah, right.
So when we first started, I just, I've seen him sitting on them punches, very left rip, dominated sort of fighter. So, I love that because a lot of my style has come from that Shannon Taylor sort of style. So it's very hard left jabs, hard body rips, very fit, very aggressive sort of style. And Tyler just, had that in spades. He was...
Would you describe that as like a moving forward style?
Yep.
And would you say it's less ducking and weaving?
We try to add that in as we go because we are putting on so much. Our style is very aggressive, a lot of pressure, but we still want to be defensively minded, So we do duck and weave, but we're also catching a lot on the gloves. So it's if you to try and get a good idea of it, is more of a Mexican style. So
as a coach,
yep.
How did it feel when you seen Tyler slip, hook, and knock that guy's mouth guard out the other night?
Oh, mate, look, the funny thing is,
that was rad, dude.
Yeah, look, I was, I've always been an advocate of Tyler's power, and like if he hits you, there's definitely mouth guards flying. So.
Was it just yes?
Yeah,
it would have felt good.
Yeah, no, it feels good, especially when things that we work on in the gym come off. Like, we were really working on counter right hands and whatnot. So he did land a lot of those. So we're happy with that aspect of it.
So 2-0, Tyler.
Yes.
In professional boxing. Yep. Which is, I'm just stoked to talk to you at this stage in your career. I think it's a golden time in my opinion.
Yeah.
What did you? I'm going to ask this question to both of you, but I'll ask you as the athlete, as the boxer. What did you learn from that last fight?
Oh,
and I'm going to ask you the same question, Brett, as from a coaching perspective, if you don't mind.
What didn't I learn? That was that actually. Brett and I both sort of had a good chat about it. I probably won't get a bigger, better opportunity than what I did a couple of weeks ago. Brett hit the nail on the head when he told me, he said, if you were fighting for a world title, it probably wouldn't be any different to the way you walked out.
Okay.
Like the amount of people there, the experience, the cameras, the professionalism of the whole show opened my eyes to, what could potentially be later down the track. So that experience alone was, years and years and years worth of learning.
Just getting a level of comfort in that space.
Yeah, exactly. And, leading into the fight, I sort of had to try and visualize what I thought might be in front of me, as in even just little things like, walking out towards the ring after they've introduced me with a camera in front of me. That's the first time that's ever happened. Even at the weigh-in, having cameras at the back of the room and photos going mental and interviews and
a lot of distractions.
Yeah, it's hard to sort of maintain focus when you're when you have all these different things going on, and ultimately it sells fights and you need to do it, but you've also got to try and maintain a bit of focus on getting in the ring and doing what you're supposed to do as well.
Man. So, Brett, as Tyler's coach, and you've coached a lot over the years. What did you learn as a coach on a professional level?
I did. The big thing that we got out of it was exactly what Tyler said. The occasion was so big, especially after COVID. Everything's been very quiet. First time we had big crowds.
Yeah.
What I am proud of too, which probably did add more pressure, was our support base from our gym, Fit to Fight, was huge.
Yeah, noticed.
It was massive, and so I've got to admit, when we walked out, it was a little bit rattling.
Yeah.
The screams, you had the cameras and whatnot. So it did affect our game plan a little bit, but the opportunity was crazy. You just can't not knock that back.
Yeah. And I guess how important is it for an athlete to become comfortable in that environment?
Huge.
Okay, so what strategies do you use to focus then? Or what do you give him strategies to focus, or do you have your own set?
Well, it's kind of hard because you can't really train for it because you don't get it every day. We get to train every day in the gym for what we do in the ring, but you don't get to train every day for what you do leading up to the fight. If that makes sense?
Makes
you know what I mean?
Man, yeah.
You don't get to train walking out in front of 6,000 people screaming at you. Do you know what I mean? And cameras in front of you all the time. So it's something I more or less had to deal with on the spot, again, because it was the first time that I was in that situation. So, you know, I thought I handled it pretty well. You know, once I eventually got in the ring, everything else blacks out anyway. So, you know, once I was in there, I felt really comfortable.
Yeah, like, and you know, because most people will never be in that position that you guys are in.
Yeah.
So can you maybe describe it to people in terms of how is that different to a normal training session or sparring session? Once you're in the ring and, you know, the bell's rung.
Yep.
How does it differ from sparring?
Probably just the intensity. You train day in, day out for that occasion. So I suppose getting to that occasion, it probably just adds a little bit more pressure and intensity.
Did it burn energy?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
It sometimes feels like your fitness cuts in half.
Okay, yeah, good.
Yeah, so because you have all that nervous energy built up beforehand, you know, it can be very very draining quite quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so like I said, like I could just see some of the Fit to Fight family in the grandstands on the broadcast, man. I mean, as a business owner, and you know, I almost don't even see you guys as a business. Like, you are a family, but you have to obviously be pragmatic about it. I mean, how did that make you feel when you're seeing that, all the black and white shirts in the stadium, man?
Oh, like everything that Sil and myself, envisioned at the start, it was that and more. You know, just that. They genuinely love Tyler. And even after he won, just the scenes after the fight, it was just like, his son had returned, and they were so happy. They were all over him, and it's unconditional. Like I was very, very proud. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. So
we got some great people here.
Yeah.
I can tell, you know. So Tyler, I want to know a little bit about like your transition into personal training. So you've obviously got now years of boxing experience, especially in the amateurs. Like, so are you working another job? Is boxing your side hustle? Like, what's the lifestyle like of a pro boxer in Australia? In reality,
I'm probably not your typical professional boxer.
Why?
Well, I come from a really, really great family, really, really supportive family. You know, and I'm not saying other boxers don't, but what I'm more or less getting at is that, you know, I had a really good upbringing, I had good education, went to university, still at university. So
nice, dude.
So, you know, there's not too many fighters that I know that are doing more or less what I'm doing. And yeah, like I said before, when I wasn't boxing, I was in management for a construction company, and you know, I didn't really have much intention on coming back to boxing because I was happy with my career. I was in a career that I could have been in for life, you know, and studying commerce at uni as well, and was going to go down that path. But then, you know, I had a couple of really influential friends that made a big difference in me sort of making the decision to turn professional, or to turn full-time professional boxing. And I probably started training people on the side when I was about 16. And then sort of, as I said, when I stopped boxing, I focused a little bit more on my other career. And then, actually it was just at the start of this year, I ended up quitting that job to make this, I guess, dream chase a little bit more real. And now I'm here, just doing a few PTs on the side and training full time.
Paying the rent.
And uni.
Paying the rent.
And paying the rent, exactly right.
I love you got a backup plan.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't necessarily look at it as a backup plan, because I don't. It's hard to say, but I don't want to think that I'm going to fail, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to think that.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to think that I'm going to fail with boxing, so I need a backup plan. I do this because it's a side. It's almost like a distraction for me, and you know, I'm big fan of sort of education. So, you know, having that degree on the side isn't necessarily to me a backup plan, if that makes sense.
Would you say it balances you out?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I mean, it's very, very draining. Training, you know, twice a day, very physical, intense sessions. Like, I almost died on Thursday. Like, we did 2 sessions and they were not easy. Like, it's very mentally tough. Like, it's a hard sport, and that's probably the big reason why I do have something else on the side is because I do need that distraction as well. But I don't see it as a backup plan.
Do you think it makes you a better boxer?
Probably not. I mean, if I didn't have it, I'd still want to think that I'm just as good. I don't necessarily think it makes me a better boxer, but I suppose it potentially makes me a better human being because I can socialize a little bit more. Like whereas if I was just 100% boxing all the time, then I turn into a bit of a nasty person.
Really?
Oh, sometimes because it's.
What do you mean?
Well, it's tough. It's not easy, and anyone that tells you it is easy is lying.
Boxing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
full time. Like the training that we're doing is not for the faint-hearted. It's not easy, and you have to be in that mindset all the time of, I want to kill someone, I want to kill someone, I want to kill someone.
So would you say it breeds the mongrel in you?
Yeah, absolutely. And, that's not something I'm scared of either, but it's not something that I want to inflict on other people all the time, if that makes sense.
I mean, do you feel like it makes you become like an angry man?
Especially close to a fight, I do. Yeah, I mean, I suppose I probably don't talk to people as much as what I usually would if I was getting closer to a fight because, as I said, the mindset starts to change and you start to get a little bit more focused on the fight because at the end of the day, you've got another guy in there that's trying to take your head off in a way. So you got to make sure you're prepared for it mentally.
I mean, Brett, is this where the role of the coach is so important in terms of balancing out that arousal level and not letting it go beyond, like, to get it in the peak mental state as opposed to going beyond that and just becoming an angry man and then, I don't know, the psychology of it?
Oh, absolutely. The psychology of it's huge. Like physically, Tyler's got everything. But at this level now, it's a majority of it's psychological because you can lose that fight, outside the ring already just by just burning yourself out, having no, side gigs. Like I said, I love it that he's going to uni. He needs that. And also we're big communicators. So we're constantly talking. How you feeling? Like we're pretty much coffee snobs. So we're always sitting down having a coffee and.
You coffee snobs?
Yes.
Dude, you're blowing it, man. I've started on the $1 Caltex coffees, dude. I've never been happier.
So we're definitely not your normal. I mean, I know it's big in our Aussie culture, but we like sitting down and just chilling, getting away from the fighting side of things and talking fashion, whatever.
Dude, you look good.
Thanks, mate.
Fuck, you've got a sneaker fetish. I thought I did.
Absolutely, like huge sneaker fetish.
You've always got the sickest sneakers on. Always.
Look, mate, that's my thing.
Dude,
and so we have got a pretty eclectic mix of like things in our life to sort of defuse the boxing side of it because, our style is a pretty aggressive, full-on style, and we like to, when we're training, different people.
Yeah. Right. So you are breeding aggression.
Oh, absolutely.
You have to.
Like, I'm not.
Because otherwise they're going to knock you out.
Yeah, and I'm not going to, cotton wool it. Our style is we're going for the knockout.
Well, I mean, you have to. Like Steve Rados. Am I pronouncing his name Rados?
Yeah, Rados.
I just like Rados because it's got the word rat in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he was tough, dude.
He was very tough.
like
absolutely.
So I mean,
from a good gym, we knew it was going to be a tough one.
Yeah, and it does lead into my next question, Tyler, because you're obviously highly intelligent. I sense that immediately about you, and the fact that you're studying tertiary level education, which really dispels the myth of a boxer.
Yeah,
I love that you're breaking the stereotype.
Yeah,
but I guess my question is like, do you hold concerns for potential brain injury?
Look, if I'm completely honest, I don't think about it.
Okay. And
the reason why I don't think about it is because if I feel that I start to think about it, then it's only going to add a level of stress or a level of disfocus.
Gotcha.
So, it's a part of the game that you kind of have to accept. Stevie Sparks on the same night I fought, after he fought, he hit the nail on the head when he said you can't go swimming without getting wet.
Gotcha.
And so I'm in boxing, I'm going to get hit. It's ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what's going to happen. My job is to obviously stop that from happening a lot. So I don't want to get hit too much, which I believe I don't. Like I have a real confidence in my defense. So, it's at the end of the day, it's not something I choose to think about, but I know is there as well.
Fuck, dude. Like you gave me goosebumps before when you said like, I just see university as my side hustle because I don't want a backup plan because I'm going to be successful.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, I got goosebumps, dude. And like, but you know how like it's so important. The world needs people who are living their passion.
Yeah.
Like 100%,
Yeah.
And thank you.
Yeah.
It just inspires me so much because you're living your dream and like it's such a gift to even have a dream.
Yeah.
And you realize that.
Yeah,
and you've also done a risk assessment when okay, this could happen, but it's like do I sink or swim? Do I take that gamble to follow my passion?
Yeah.
Whether it's boxing or something else.
Yeah.
So there's my rant, but I fucking love it, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I've found that footy players can get some really severe injuries, and the focus on boxing alone is so much more detrimental because it's just punching. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when footy players do ACLs, they do knees, they do shoulders, they do pecs, they do, they get head injuries almost every game. Like, why is the focus so much more on just boxing? Because we're getting hit all the time. Like, I don't see the discrepancy levels. That's all.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. It's like because I'm a surfer and people say, "Oh, you shouldn't surf because there's sharks."
Exactly
like,
right.
Fuck.
Yeah, I mean,
what am I doing?
When do you decide to live the life you want to live rather than live the life you're told to live? Do you know what I mean? So that's the way I'm looking at it anyway. Like I started this year in a very different mindset to what I was before because I said to myself, I'm at an age where I can make a decision now that could potentially change the way I live the rest of my life. So, and if I decided to have a crack at it, I'm going to have a crack at it. So I'm not going to do it half-assed. I'm not going to do 1 foot in the water. Do you know what I mean? So
I'm not going to sit on the fence.
Yeah, exactly. And Brett knows that now, and the whole team knows that. So that's why we're giving it 100%.
I don't know. You might know this, Brett. Like, MMA compared to boxing, I don't want to harp on about head injuries too much. Yeah. But, it's topical. It's interesting.
Part of the game.
Absolutely.
Like, is boxing actually known as being more dangerous because you're taking more head hits than MMA? Have you heard that stat?
Personally,
you don't know?
I mean,
what do you think?
I personally think boxing's the toughest and probably the most dangerous sport in the world because of the glove size. They are small when you actually fight. So when you're sparring, you're in big gloves.
Like 16 ounces?
Yep, 16 ounce, and you might fight in 8s or 10s, whatever.
Is that what you fought in the other night?
Yeah, so I fought in 10-ounce gloves.
10
so
ounce.
Once you're over a certain weight, I think it's super middleweight. I think I might be on the limit, or it might be middleweight, or the weight class below me, it's 10 ounce. So, but anything under that is about 8 ounce. Yeah.
You think it's because of the volume of headshots?
Well,
compared to MMA?
Yeah, and the MMA is like when they're actually fighting, you'll see when someone gets hit, it's usually over. It's one sharp shot. They've got 4-ounce gloves. So when you get hit, you're down, you're getting tapped out, whatever. But in boxing, it's way more accumulation shots and it's head targeted. I mean, obviously they hit the body, but when you start adding in sparring and you're looking at like even Tyler's fight the other month, it went the distance. Mm-hmm. So, you're accumulating a lot more shots than you would, say, with MMA. It's usually short and sharp.
Yeah, gotcha.
So, definitely more headshots.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Listen, Brett, you're more than happy to stay. I don't want to take your time. I was saying, can you sit in for 15, 20? But if you want to stay the whole time, I'm happy for you too. Or you got something to do?
No, all good, guys.
Tyler, you cool with that?
Yeah,
we're good.
Absolutely, 100%.
It's great. Like I said, it's actually the first time on the podcast I've had 2 guests at the same time, and it's
love it.
Like when you agreed to be on, I was just it was just a great fit, and I'm so grateful for everyone's time. So thanks.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, man. So just. You are now 2-0.
Yep.
You've decided that second victory has really solidified your vision for the future, correct?
Yeah, big time.
What's your vision for the future? Do you have a game plan?
Well, at the end of the day, money is going to be everything because people don't do things without getting paid. So, if I can, and this is just being completely honest, if I can,
Thank you.
yeah, if I can earn as much money as I can out of the sport, then I'm happy. You know, I'm not here to, I'm not here to be a stepping stone for anyone. And so if 10 years down the track, my career aspects have changed, then I'm getting out of the game. It's not a game where, and then, again, this is where my sort of dad sort of drilled into me that it's not a game where you can do it half-assed. If you got to do it, you're going to do it for like a packet. You got to do it for money, because otherwise you're going to get hurt, and it's very taxing on your body.
Yeah, and you need a return on the investment.
Exactly,
like,
right.
It's pragmatic.
It's people that say they fight because they love to fight are mental, and I understand it, but at the end of the day, they still want to get paid. Floyd Mayweather has changed boxing completely, because he was getting up to $300 million a fight. You know what I mean? Like that's insane. You know what I mean? Like,
what do you do with all that money?
Yeah, but like, he's doing it for the right reasons, in my opinion, because I don't see the point in putting all this taxing implementation onto your body and then not having a return, not having something to show for it.
Yeah, it's interesting, because you when you started talking about your honesty about what you want from it, I could sense a level of trepidation in terms of, like, you're a bit almost shy to say that. Well, I mean, why is that? I'm just curious. Do you think it's because of the tall poppy syndrome? I
think so. I think people's pride get in the way a little bit. People put on a bit of a front to say that they're a fighter and they'll fight just for the sake of fighting. But at the end of the day, if there wasn't that end goal in mind, I don't think a lot of people would do it.
Gotcha.
That's certainly not the reason why I'm doing it. Like, I want to, hopefully, provided I take the right steps and progress accordingly in my career, then I can set myself up, I can set my kids up, I can set my future family up. So that's the plan.
Completely pragmatic and understandable.
Yeah.
But you love the game as well. You love the actual
and don't get me wrong, like,
you do.
Absolutely, I love the game, and I suppose that's why I'm choosing to do this. But there has to be a reward for it too.
How do you even make that Floyd Mayweather money, man? Like, as an Australian boxer, does he have to go to the States, or do you have to go to the States? What's going
on? We've talked about that already. Just with the whole COVID thing, sparring is such a big part of your progression, of your development as a fighter. I'm a big believer in do what you got to do. And Australia, look, to be honest, Australia, I think, have got some of the best coaches in the world, bar none. We're really creative. We've got some great coaching here. But the sparring is what's going to let us down, and the amount of high-level competition. So in America, it's off its head there.
Yeah.
Sparring, competition, like that's what's going to make you a better fighter long run. You don't want to be I love my country, but you don't want to be Aussie level. If you really want to do good at this sport, you've got to look a bit further, and the States is where it's at.
They've got a deeper pool of talent.
Absolutely.
Well, you look at it as in Australia has a population of 25, 26 odd million, and rugby league is a dominant sport here.
Yeah.
Boxing's not. When you go to the States, they got a population of, I think it's like 350 million, and boxing can be a very dominant sport over there. So, it's a numbers game.
100%.
So we're a very small fish in a very small pond. Where you go over there, you'd be an even smaller fish in a massive pond.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You can do it.
Yeah.
Do you plan on going over?
Well,
at some stage?
Yeah. So Brett and I have spoken about, going over there for stints at a time and doing, small little camps and go and get the best sparring we can possibly get and, progress that way.
I think for you, being from small town, coastal Wollongong in Australia, Alexander Volkanovski, UFC featherweight champion of the world from our hometown, dude. Like, how does that make you feel? Even though it's a different sport.
No, 100%. Yeah.
Like, is he someone that you look to for inspiration?
Well, absolutely, because it just shows that you can get there.
Gotcha.
You can take the right steps, and you can make that money. You can get to that level of fighting, if that makes sense. Because actually, and there's another one. He's not from Wollongong, but George Kambosos. He's just about to fight, the best lightweight in the world, and he was fighting on similar shows to what I was fighting on, to what I'm fighting on. Do you know what I mean? So it's more or less paved a bit of a way for young up-and-coming fighters like myself to see where we can get to if we decide to put in the time.
What's the strategic plan then? Just build up your record and start getting bigger fights, and then, is that the strategic plan?
Yeah, I mean, records more or less speak for themselves, especially in Australia. There's a lot of fighters at the moment that will fight. We call it a padded record to sort of build up a bit of a good-looking record, but they're not fighting the type of fighters that would challenge them, if that makes sense. So Brett and I are both really big on, we've got to step up accordingly. We've got to take hard fights because that's going to develop me, and it's not going to be such a huge jump when we do fight someone that's really good, if that makes sense. Like we're constantly fighting guys that are, on a similar sort of level or better than me, just to keep making sure that I'm developing as well.
So you'd be okay with having a loss on your record if it was against the right person?
Not particularly, because loss can kill careers. Like, I don't want to ever think about losing.
Sorry to bring that up.
No, that's okay. Absolutely. But I don't want to think about losing in the sense that, one win will put you one step forward, but one loss will take you 5 steps back.
I gotcha.
So it can be very detrimental if it's at the wrong time. But in saying that, we do have to be smart about, the way we go forward as well. Like, we're not going to fight a world champion in our third fight. So
so how did you get on the undercard for the Paul Gallen and Lucas Brown fight? So for those of you that don't know, in Australia, very big professional boxing event with the next NRL player and ex-professional and professional boxer Lucas Brown. How do you get on the undercard for that? Is it something you organised, Brett?
It sort of happened a little bit organically. We were looking at being on a show locally, and then once the announcement happened that No Limit was going to put on a show here in Wollongong, we just put the feelers out, and it sort of just happened that way. They were looking for some local talent.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
And you just put your hand up?
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. I should probably give him a bit of a plug.
Absolutely.
A good mate of mine, Zach Lomax, he actually he sort of used his connections in a way to try and put my name in the picture as well, and I suppose that sort of helped get me to that sort of show as well. But yeah, again, being in Wollongong, they're always going to try and look for a bit of local talent as well, and it sort of all just worked really well together, and the timing was perfect. So
nice, man. Yeah. I didn't want to. I was thinking before this podcast, because I really I love the game. I love watching boxing and talking about. It's like, don't talk all about boxing, but I couldn't help it. It's really interesting, and I think for a lot of people who don't know what happens behind the scenes, I think that stuff's really intriguing, because this is my next question. It's going to get uncomfortable.
Yeah,
you don't have to answer it, and don't have to say amounts, but who does the negotiations for your paychecks?
At this stage in my career, we don't really have any bargaining power.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Especially on a card like that, because it is so exposure based.
Gotcha.
We don't get a say.
That's good value.
Really,
just getting the exposure.
Yeah. We don't really get a say in what we earn. We more or less accept what they offer.
Okay,
if that makes sense.
You don't have to tell us.
Nah, it's not important, but it's not a lot.
I'm just kidding. Sorry, just like the voyeur in me just wants to know. I'm just kidding. I'm sure Floyd Mayweather would tell us.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, man. So, listen, growing up in small town Wollongong, I keep calling it small town. It's not small town. It's a city, man. Yeah. It's the best city in Australia. But tell us about your childhood. Like, what was your childhood like growing up where you did?
Well, I grew up in Woonona,
which is like a northern suburb.
Yeah.
How would you describe the area? Middle class?
Yeah, I mean, middle class. There was nothing too special, nothing too bad about it. Yeah. There's always bad that comes with the good. I grew up, as I said, in a really, really nurturing kind of family. 2 brothers, both older, mum, dad, and we just sort of ran our own race. My middle brother Jake, he played footy at quite a high level. So as I said, there was that. There's always been that athletic sort of vibe with the home life. I was never one that I actually we owned an Xbox, but I think I might have played it twice in my life. You know what I mean? So it was always training. It was always doing stuff. It was never inside.
Never played computer game guy.
Never played computer games or PlayStation, Xbox kind of thing. Like it was always out training or playing with our mates and all that sort of stuff. So it was a good childhood. I wouldn't change anything. But yeah, I mean, it sort of led me to the person I am today, I guess.
School though, what was school like?
Yeah, school was good. Primary school, I just basically was school actually like 150 metres away from home, so I just used to walk there and from every day. High school went to Holy Spirit, so Catholic high school.
How was it?
Unreal. I loved it. I love school.
Cool, man.
I
love to hear that.
Yeah.
You don't hear it very often, eh?
Yeah, I had a good relationship with everyone in my years. Even above and below. Really good relationship with my teachers. Like nothing ever seemed to faze me as a kid. Like,
What's your favourite subject?
Probably PE, to be honest.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, nothing really ever seemed to faze me as a kid. I was always pretty easygoing, just like to run my own race.
Yeah, man.
Not a drama chaser.
Great, man.
Yeah.
Shit, I wish I could say that. Drama seems to follow me. Follow you, Brett?
Oh, far too much, mate.
Listen, so I always like to ask people this next question about that transition from high school.
Yep.
That first year when you leave school. I just reckon it's such a crucial year for a lot of people because.
Absolutely.
Can you maybe describe that first year out of school for you? How was it?
Well, that was probably the, I guess, final year of my boxing before I decided to have a break, or actually decided to quit because I had no intentions of coming back.
Yeah.
So when I hit that 18 mark, all my mates started to go out. They started to go out and drink with their mates and girls and whatnot and all that started to come for them right at the time where I was fighting at a pretty high level as an amateur.
Yeah.
So, and I never cut corners when I was an amateur. I always did everything right. So never partied, never did anything like that. And then obviously had a few tough decisions with a few losses and then decided to quit because I was like, this isn't working for me. So I'm going to go back to uni and do uni full time and then find a career that I'm actually going to enjoy. So that transition from high school into like university and working life was actually pretty difficult, to be honest, because I didn't sort of have your natural transition because I was still, as I said, competing at a pretty high level. And then once it stopped, it just went bang. Like it just hit me. Like, I was going out all the time with mates and, doing what a normal 19, 20-year-old would usually do and, spend heaps of money and then, and that's what I said. That's where I put on all that weight and sort of didn't live the same sort of lifestyle I was living before. And
did you get it out of your system? Or is it still in there? You still got the party going there?
Well, I've never. I probably made it sound like I was a real party animal just then, but I wasn't essentially just a party animal. But I was just living like a normal 20-year-old's life. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like I wasn't training every day. I wasn't, so driven in my sport. There was other focuses. You know what I mean? Like, there was times for girls and times for parties and times just spending time with your mates as well. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't necessarily all boxing and then nothing else. You know what I mean? Like, it was just living the life of a 20-year-old. So, and I'm glad I did it because, I don't miss it. I don't miss it at all. Like I've no sort of energy to drive or to go be out with my mates when they're out at 2:00 in the morning on a Saturday night, but I'd rather be in bed for sure, getting ready for training the next morning.
Day, I mean, training with a hangover.
Yeah, not for me.
Brett, you ever done that?
No, mate.
I don't believe it.
No, mate.
Actually, you probably haven't.
No, I haven't.
No, you haven't, no.
Seriously, like I know, I come across looking a certain way, but I drunk.
Yeah.
When I was 26 twice.
That's amazing. I know. When you tell me that, the discipline to avoid the peer pressure, like Tyler was saying, man, it must be so hard.
I mean, that's the good thing about. I mean, there are a lot of sacrifices as an athlete, but like if you can do that, you'll definitely live a lot more healthier life. So I've got no regrets in that area.
Yeah, good. Because you look good for your age, man.
Thanks, buddy. I'm trying.
Dude, like I was saying before the podcast, I got a new goal, man. Be a good-looking old dude.
Good-looking old dude.
Gotta make up for the loss of hair.
Yeah, true, mate. True.
Dude, that's what I like about you. So listen, Tyler, like I want to go back to a little bit like your training regime, but more in terms of diet.
Yep.
And like, can you tell me what's a day in the life of you look like? I know you train every day, but you know, you got a morning routine. What sort of diet are you mainly eating? Are you eating high carb, low carb, or just whatever?
Well, no, the nutrition side of things has to be to fuel the training side of things.
Uh-huh.
So it's like a perfect equation. It has to be like, you know, the foods I have to eat have to enhance my performance when I'm training. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, that means a lot of carbs, high protein, you know, fueling for the right types of training. So, you know, I'm not going to starve my body of carbohydrates when it needs carbohydrates to train properly or to train at a really high level. So, you know, for example, in the morning I'll wake up, I'll have some oats with a bit of protein and water and whatnot. And then I'll come. Sometimes I've got clients in the morning, so I'll do a few PTs and then I'll go train with Brett. And, you know, during the middle of the day, if I haven't got uni, I'll eat again and have, you know, a high protein meal then after training. And come home, I might have a bit of a sleep if I need to, you know, because sleep's a real big part of recovery. And then, you know, we do other recovery exercises as well, like getting in a sauna, you know, doing leg pumps and getting in the water and whatnot. So
Leg pumps?
Yeah. So again, a good mate of mine, he has they're like sleeves you put over your legs and they inflate and it sort of pushes oxygen, pushes your blood around your legs to improve your recovery.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we do that, and then training again in the Arvo, and then a few sort of clients to finish off the day and then go home, eat again and go to sleep.
Yeah. 5 days a week? 6 days a week?
Usually we go around 6 and have a day off. It more or less depends on what we have upcoming. So our sparring changes around quite frequently because getting sparring can be a little bit challenging. So when we spar, we usually like to take the day off beforehand. So we're nice and fresh coming into, you know, the next day. So yeah, it more or less changes on what we have upcoming. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever do like hot and cold therapies? It's like sauna, ice bath? You ever done that?
I've seen the transition before. I've never really done it. I like to sort of stick with one or the other.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just curious, like to see if you'd notice the difference in the recovery speed.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I'm open to try, but I haven't done it, so I can't really comment on it. Yeah.
Yeah, so interesting. Listen, Tyler, it's been epic, bro, and I'm really curious to ask you about a charity or like a cause you'd like to support or advocate for. Have you got something
absolutely. And as we said before the podcast, my cousin Lewis, he had leukemia when he was only a bub, so you know that's something that's sort of close to home. So that's something I'm definitely going to be advocate for sure.
Do you mind if I ask how the recovery from the leukemia went?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's made it 100% recovery now.
Amazing.
You know, he had it when he was a little bub, and now he's 14 or so. So, it was a hard time for the family. That's for sure. But you know, thank God that he made a full recovery. But you know, like we're closer than ever, so it's good.
Yeah, I mean, cancer. I mean, my family's been touched by cancer, as has a lot of other families.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, like from a philosophical perspective, like why are cancer rates on the rise? Like it's really disturbing.
Crazy.
Hey,
Crazy.
You know, but I mean, you know, let's hope that supporting and donating and supporting research that we can move this forward.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, man. So yeah, listen, Tyler.
Yep.
I'm gonna put a link to that. Well, there is a link to that in this episode's show notes, which you can listen to on the terriblehappytalks.com website or any of the other platforms that you can find this podcast, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Buzzsprout, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Overcast, and Podcast Addict. And there's a few other ones, but whatever one you subscribe to, please like leave a review or subscribe if you haven't. It just really helps me to keep producing weekly episodes and get legends like Tyler and Brett on the show. Like, and Brett, I say this all the time, dude. Like, I don't know why, dude. Like, I don't know. You're just like a male mentor to me. Why? A lot of people do that to you. They do.
Yeah, a bit, but like,
why? Why do you think?
I just think, I don't know. Like, I think I love people myself, but it's also like I was talking about energy before. If like the only prerequisite I want as a person is a bit of respect, love and respect, and I'm there for anyone, So, and I think I've sort of lived a pretty interesting life, so I can sort of relate to people a little bit that way. So, yeah, and we do play a big role in our gym as mentors, as like a father figure. All of us do. Sil does with the old mama bear sort of side of it. So
see that? That's
big
great.
time.
Yeah, and then it's like you got your children, Tyler and Whitney.
we call them our kids.
Yeah.
I noticed.
Sil's got like a role of a manager as well, so she's like a mamager.
Yeah, mamager.
Sil's the I'm the good cop. Sil's the bad cop. She puts everyone in line. And,
yeah, like it's so needed.
Yes, absolutely.
God, I wouldn't trust you like all by yourself.
No, neither would I.
Yeah, it's so great, and we were talking at the start, like, as a business owner and doing something you love at the same time, is growth important or is lifestyle important? What do you think?
We have this conversation daily, Sil and myself. Like, look, growth's important, but for us, especially, going through COVID, and we've been here now 3 years. I think lifestyle and just having that family culture is everything. Like, if you look for money and stuff like that, I believe that's secondary to to the culture. And we've never gone for the money side of it. It's always been about being authentic. And I think that will just the rest just happens.
It resonates, man.
It does.
Yeah, and I don't want to put down other gyms, like, and there's a lot of gyms doing what you do in terms of building that culture, but I just think for me on a personal level, like, it just really it really speaks to me what you're doing, and after going to other gyms, which have been awesome, there's just something unique that just personally resonates with me about coming here, and I know it does for a legion of other people now, and I just really respect how you're sort of like teetering on that. Well, we don't need to grow; we've got our family now.
100%.
And I think here's a question for you, Brett: is that what's wrong with the world, that too many people are striving too much, and that's why we're stressed out?
Oh, look. There's no doubt, like you hit it on the head there. That's what our society's become. Everyone wants to be famous. Everyone wants everything in a year. That's just, it's not like that. You got to build character. You got to start, life's lessons along the way. We don't even know ourselves, and and people just want, even in their work life, they just want everything so quick. So, and it's not always about money. I believe money's a byproduct of what we've got here. You want that culture, you want that family feel. So
money's a byproduct.
Absolutely.
Of that, of passion.
Of passion.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Tyler.
It is.
I'm sorry, I just looked at Tyler. Because when you're on that $300 million flight, dude, just remember this interruption. Don't forget me. I know you won't forget Brad or Sylvia.
Yeah, nah, definitely.
I actually want to ask you something.
Yep.
Like, as a trainer over the years and dealing with a lot of people, what do you say to someone who just says to you, I just want to have one fight? What do you say to them? Like, I just want to have one fight. Just tick it off the bucket list.
Oh, I'm all for it. But what I try and say to them is, look, first things first, you need go in, do the hard yards, learn your technique, and you got to love the training, because usually people go, I want to fight this and that. They have their first spar and you don't see them again.
Well, because they don't like getting hit.
Mate, hit's just the biggest shock to the system. Some people can handle it, some can't. So I've got a lot of respect for people that have a spar and then they keep turning up after it, because 90% will not.
Because the headshots just hurt. I think people forget that. And Tyler said it before, like, it's a tough game. Like, and I think, I can go to a cardio box class, no worries. And I trained, but it's so different, hey?
So different. And like, the human nature is, you don't want to be hit. And then people say, oh, so-and-so is a big puncher, so-and-so is a light puncher. Mate, they all hurt.
Yep.
It's just, how much do you love it? How much do you want to get out of it? And if you can persevere through that, I'm all for it. Like, definitely tick it off, because it'll be the greatest personal achievement besides having kids and marriage and whatnot that you'll ever do.
Yeah. It's funny. I did a 2-minute round the other day. We went to do 3 2-minute rounds in sparring. And I remember, because I've trained with you, I thought I could train pretty hard.
Oh, you do?
Hadn't sparred really properly like that or in a long time. I think I did it a few times earlier. But I remember I got to it was a 2-minute round. I looked at the clock and I felt like it was almost the 2 minutes was up. It was 30 seconds in. I had 1:30 to go. Yeah. And I just went, holy fuck, how am I going to get to, I'm not going to survive the next 1:30. That's what was in my head. And I'm sparring. Don't laugh, Sylvia.
It's true, mate.
And it just humbled me. I'm serious. Like, I remember looking at the clock going, I got 1:30. I got 1:30. Yeah. And you know what went? Does this happen with you? My legs went before my upper body went.
Yeah.
Because of just like moving around, and my legs were gone. And my arms were actually okay. Yeah. Does that happen a lot?
Yeah.
Legs go?
Your legs are probably the first to go.
Yeah.
That's why the conditioning aspect of boxing is so important. So important.
Yeah. Is that what you're instilling in your clients?
Yes, and that's what Brett's probably instilled into me. And that's probably why we don't have any heating sessions.
One more question, sorry. And I know I was winding up, but I just remembered I wanted to ask this. And either of you can answer it, whoever jumps in first. Are you born with talent or is it made?
Brett, that's you.
All right.
Don't fuck it up.
I am definitely, people have a talent or you can see that they that's something that they'd go well at. But I believe hard work will beat talent in the end.
Every time?
Every time. Hard work.
Yeah.
Yep. Because talent can get you so far, and then you've got these people that have just grinded. And look, boxing, I always say this, fatigue will bring out the coward, for lack of a better word, in anyone.
Love that. That's a metaphor for life.
It literally is true. So if you're not, you can be the most talented person on earth. If you're not conditioned and you're not fit, you'll stop. I guarantee it, you'll stop. So there's where hard work beats talent for me. So that's our motto. So just so happens Tyler's talented and he works hard. So that's a good mix. But yeah.
I love watching the clip of you two warming up in the change rooms at Wynn Entertainment Centre. I love that. I actually reposted it.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's beautiful. Like, what conversations were you two having in those moments, though? Were you saying much to each other?
It's very game plan driven. So, the final sort of instructions are what we usually have to start with. So it's fresh in your head. We were just constantly going over the game plan.
What was the game plan again?
Go
Feel
forward,
him out.
Be smart. No, go forward. The game plan was to back him up.
What do you mean back him up?
We'll make him go backwards.
You get in the corner, get him in the corner.
Yeah, just constantly working, just constantly making sure he's moving, constantly, putting him on the back foot, because I always find that it's easier to land punches when you're going forward. It's hard to box going backwards. Not many people can do it. Yeah. And I probably didn't follow the game plan enough, in the sense that I didn't throw enough punches going forward. And that's where the technical aspect sort of comes into it. But again, it was probably, it come down to a bit of ring rust as well. Like, I was 15 months out of the ring. Yeah. And
you get a bit lost in the space at times? Did you feel lost in the space?
Not necessarily lost, but you're just a little bit slower to react to different things. You sort of catch a few things and you're like, oh shit, should have done this, should have done this. But, and probably the best thing that could have come out of it was going the distance. Do you know what I mean? So, because then that way, the first thing Brett and I did after the fight was we caught up for brekkie the next day, and we didn't say one thing about what we did right. The only thing we decided to talk about was the things I was doing wrong, or the things we need to work on going forward. And that's what we're about.
Amazing.
Yeah, we capitalise on the things we do good, but we got to work on the things we do bad.
Yeah.
That's almost a good way. That's a good way to end it. Capitalise on the things we do good.
Yeah.
But
work on the things we do bad.
Yeah. Dude, I might take that into my personal life.
You can do that. That's sweet.
Listen, bro, I've got a present for you from our friends at Indosol. They'll be sending you a pair of sandals made from repurposed motor vehicle tires. So I'll get you a dress and shoe size. Did you ever get yours, bro?
Yes. Love them.
Good. Just checking.
Love them.
So thanks, Indosol. They give every guest a pair of sandals.
Yeah, love
Ryan
that.
got a pair.
Awesome.
Our photographer today.
Beauty.
He's a professional skateboard photographer,
Thanks,
and
Ryan.
amongst other things. And he filmed a clip of him skateboarding in his thongs, like doing skate tricks and stuff. It's so good, dude.
Yeah, nice.
I'm gonna repost that. It's favourite.
Very good. Very good.
So yeah, and also I've got a sticker for you, which is the THT Circle logo sticker.
Beauty.
I always give every guest that's been on the show one of those. You're
Yep.
now like THT alumni. So thanks for your time, man.
No,
Like,
thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
dude,
Yeah,
it was the best.
Yeah,
Like, it
great
kind
chat.
of wasn't what I expected. It wasn't like,
Yeah.
yeah. And I guess too, like, I think you've caught some people's attention, man. And
That's the plan.
And,
That's, take a bit of a different aspect to the game and see where I can get with it.
it's magic time in your life, brother.
Absolutely.
Magic time. Ew.